Hello, I'm Kelly Foss. I want to thank you for joining me for my online workshop series with Strathmore. I have all my supplies here and I wanted to go over them with you. Even more than saying that it's nice to have a ruler for an unlotioned tissue, you know, a plain tissue. More than those items, I want to talk to you about setup. Sets you up for success. Most people, we don't have a studio setup. We have living room, bedroom, kitchen table. So I'll show you my setup and then how you can make your setup better.
Because most people don't have a giant easel. This is actually a tabletop oil painting palette.
All you need is a hard surface, like a clipboard or a book. I'll just use my wood palette and show you.
Take your flat surface, but do not put it flat because it will mess up your perspective. Stack some heavy books and you're good to go.
Okay, so now we're ready to go over materials. Let me put this down. Whew. But let's first talk about lighting. If you are working from life with the subject right in front of you, it's important to have one light source. It's really nice to have natural light, but if you don't have that, try to eliminate extra light sources on that one subject. Also make sure that you have a nice light source on your paper. Okay. Let's get into our supplies.
Papers. I love gray. I love the drawing paper, but this is my absolute favorite. It is 8.5 by 5.5 toned tan sketch paper. If you want a thicker paper than sketch, try the toned tan mixed media. Here's a portrait I did on that. It's thicker, extra points if you know who that is. But from this workshop, I'm using just my favorite. Here are some wonderful colored pencils from Lyra, but I'm going to go with this one red pencil. Yep, that's all that we're going to use. So here's a set of graphite. And from all the H's and B's with numbers, I'm going to just go with the 6B, the 2B, and the 4B, along with my red and my white pastel pencil. Now you might ask, what are all these numbers with letters? What is the 2B versus the 2H? So H stands for hard. If it's hard, the graphite's harder to make a mark on your paper. So you remember this H versus B with H stands for hard and B stands for soft. I'm kidding. It doesn't mean that. I believe B stands for bold because it's softer pencils. I'm pretty sure you'll remember that now because of my weird joke. Sharpening pencils is a really important practice for any artist. When you work with sharp pencils, you are going to be able to do your best drawings. I am not great with sharpening. I really should invest in an electric sharpener. I was proud that I got this point, and my camera was not as proud as me. It would refuse to show my triumph. But I still tried. Not my sharpest. Oh, and that's a shot glass that I use for my pencil shavings. Here's a white eraser, pretty big. So I cut it in half lengthwise from that longer stick. I sharpen it. A kneaded eraser is also a great tool. You can roll it and make it a point, and that's for more subtle erasing that you can tap at your paper. Here I'm sharpening my eraser so you can see how easy it is. Look at that. Beautiful. Such a great life hack. Now, with this brush, it's not for painting, it's for getting rid of eraser peels or dust. You don't want to put your fingers on your paper because it makes it oily.
Those are all of our supplies. Now I want to show you some tips, tricks, and techniques on how to use these pencils. Let's do it.
Okay, starting off here with the 6B. So that is my darkest pencil. And I'm doing what's called a side hold or cigar hold. So it allows me to put the graphite point really down to the paper and make thicker, bolder strokes. This is more normal writing hold, and you can see how precise it is. So I'm going to do some more cigar hold to lay down the graphite thicker. Let's just do a little value transition. So when I say value, I mean the dark to light or light to dark. So I'm pushing on my pressure and I'm going very hard there, but you can see some static. So I'm going to use the clean tissue piece and just smudge it and really massage that graphite into the fibers of the paper. And now look at how filled out that is. And I can build it back up with the 6B even darker. So I can make my value range even wider. Look at that. So smooth, all with that pencil. Now, you can do different mark making. It's called hatching. So hatching are parallel lines. And that's fun. It can look kind of design-like. If you want to do this, it's called cross-hatching. And you can even make it for shading of just keep on building your cross-hatching. But it gives a nice distinct graphic look to your art if you want that. I'm going to take a bottle cap here and just trace it. So we can do a little exercise of a magic floating ball. This is the light source in my imagination. Just put an arrow here to remind us. Now let's do that rim of shadow. That initial rim that happens where the light isn't going beyond that one point, that's called the terminator line. And everything past that is true shadow. So I'm just going to fill that in. And I'm going to smudge it with my tissue. Some people use what's called a stump to do this, and that's fine, but this is right on hand, easy. So I'm restating my terminator line, my deepest shadow right here. With art, we should be patient with ourselves and really enjoy the process. Especially with pencils, we can build up the intensity. So now I'm going with a harder pencil and I'm increasing that smoother transition from the shadow line up towards the light. Increasingly getting lighter with my pressure as I head towards the light source. If there's moments where I can see the contrast and there's not really a transition, I'm just softening that. Do a little smudge down again. Now, smudging is not the be-all, end-all, and it also can be a bad habit. If you find yourself smudging things a lot or smudging things to create form, try instead to take your time, sharpen your pencil, and really just be in the moment of filling in any dots and spots that you see on your paper. I'm really looking at the form and I'm erasing the line on the ball that's in the light because real life is not outlined. I remember realizing this when I was a kid, looking at my hand and being like, but how does one draw without outlines? It's through lighting. It's through, it can be called modeling or shading or rendering. It all means the same thing. It's about doing your light to dark, putting in your values. Now with the kneaded eraser, I'm just doing a little tapping up of some dots and spots. And again, I'm restating that terminator line, that line where the light is not going beyond it on this ball. Really be patient with your art. Take time to build things up. Don't expect things to be instant. Really enjoy the process. It can be very relaxing. Just working your graphite into the fibers of your paper. Now, let's make this thing really become 3D. With the white pastel, let's touch on the lightmost facing plane of the ball, that real top area. But do you see I'm not going all the way down to the graphite? I'm allowing the paper value to do some of the work in this piece. Look at that gradation, the light to the dark. I'm gonna tap up a little bit of that white. Make sure it gives proper space to the paper. Clean up the space around the ball. And I want that ball to float. So I'm putting a little bit of graphite taken from my smudge over there. And I'm just gonna smudge a little round spot down here. And almost like magic, our magic ball is floating. Now, isn't that cool? Let's put a tabletop or some horizon line behind it so we can kind of see the perspective that the ball is indeed floating in a space. So let's just line this ruler. Magic. I'm going to erase the arrow. If you ever have time just to doodle, doing one of these balls, or really any doodle that you want to do, it's always improving your art. Just getting more and more comfortable with pencil in your hand. It's a great thing. I'm just darkening the far side of the moon here. Filling in any of the little dots and spots that I see that kind of are rogue. There's a little contrasty dither. Values are always transitioning. At least on organic forms. If it's like a book or something, maybe not. So the more you practice these sort of exercises, like drawing a ball and shading it in, the more it helps you with all sorts of subjects. So we can even practice that with the white. Going really hard on the pressure and then lightening it. And we can also do a little difference. One side is just scratchy, and let's make the other side massaged into the paper. Now the pastel will lift even more than the graphite when you do this massaging. Do you see that ghostiness? So let's build it up some more. Do a little back and forth. Lay down some more pastel. And then I want to brush away a little extra and push that into the fiber of the paper again, and it is building. Just increasing that gradation. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in person, it's nice and a little bit stronger than the other side that I left just to be its first scribble. Tapping up some of the little dots and spots. Increasing that highlight or the lightmost facing plane. It's pretty fun. Building this stuff is so addictive because then once you start seeing it go 3D, you want to just keep on going at it. Okay, but we need to try out all of our pencils. So let's get into the red. Let's see what it can do. That heavy pressure. And then let's gradate it down. As you can see, I'm using the side hold, so it's not the point that's being pressed on the paper, it's more the side of the pencil. And I can layer it on top of the white. And you know, if you add white to red, it is pink. So same here, it kind of changes the hue of the red. It makes it more like I want to say it's a fuchsia. It can still be pretty intense, which is great. Look at that intensity. But do you see the color difference? It's like fuchsia versus, I don't know, cherry. Now let's try that layering on top of the deep dark graphite. And let's make it softer and lighter as I pull down. Let's increase that gradation as well. Make this nice little value scale of red, deep dark. Look at all that layering options. You can mix and match these pencils. But something I find really important that too often I see done is not allowing your tan paper to be part of the team. The beauty of working with tan paper is that it's kind of a light medium value. Most of the world is a medium value, unless we're at nighttime. But most subjects and everything, we're seeing it in a medium value. So the paper already contains your drawing. We just need to top it off with some light and hit the bottom of it with some dark. But allow your paper to shine through and be part of the value scale. So here I'm completing the value scale by going from very light white pastel to a heavier pressure. Look at that. But it is all about allowing that paper to be part of the team. Right here, it's just raw paper, but you don't even see it because I did such a smooth transition of graphite to paper and then paper to white. And you can see that on the ball as well, that I left it, that raw rim.
Okay, so now that we've gone over setup and supplies, let's just get into drawing. I hope you join me for my 3 drawing demos. We're going to be doing a couple of bananas, a pair of bananas, a pet, and a pout. Sorry, I just like alliterations. What's another way to say it? Gonna do a fruit, a fur baby, and a frown. No, it's not a frown. Okay, I can't come up with 3. We're gonna do a still life, an animal, and a feature. Anyways, stay tuned for my drawing demos. We're gonna have a good time. See ya.